For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss removing Zuma, but learning from experience. Welcome, Professor. Your article assumes that Zuma will be removed. Is this valid?
Well, you know, it's quite hard to understand how someone can remain in office after the Nkandla findings, after the reinstatement of charges against him, addressing an empty House of Parliament yesterday, apart from the ANC members, a person who is widely regarded as being dishonest and so forth. I think it's a question of the ANC deciding when it pays them more to have him there than to have him go. My guess is that it's already clear that Zuma is a very big disadvantage to the ANC, but it may well be that if Zuma goes, people are afraid of losing their positions. And you know, there's a lot of people there who we have to understand that the salary that they get as MPs or as ministers goes to a big family and things like this, and a lot of people are dependent on it, and any uncertainty can create insecurity in their positions. But I think ultimately they're going to have to he's going to have to go. Obviously there's a big movement in society at large, but the ANC itself might well decide to get rid of him.
In the article, are you suggesting that those who are calling for Zuma to resign don't want a democratic outcome?
Now, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is the focus of most of the protests, the people who have written open letters, the people who have been at protest meetings, has been on Nkandla. And the problems of Zuma are much wider. The problems are what I believe are a problem of democracy. Someone who sets an example of a lack of accountability, in fact contempt for accountability. It was a joke for him when he imitated white people pronouncing Nkandla, things like that. So in some ways, I think, and there's also, as I indicated in the article, there are a number of other reasons why, which we need to focus on if we want Zuma to be followed with a democratic outcome. We've got to identify the problems of Zuma as being much wider than Nkandla. Lots of other cases of patronage, corruption. There's the way he uses culture, abuses culture, cultural chauvinism, his excessive deference to traditional leaders in regard to land, contrary to the constitution, things like this. So I'm not suggesting these people are not in favor of democracy, but what my problem is, they focused on a limited area within the problems of the Zuma presidency. And if we merely want to remedy that, you may get someone taking his place who's got other problems which are anti-democratic.
And why do you say that the ANC may not remain a political dominant force in the country?
Yes, it's something that was unimaginable about a year or two ago, because the ANC is more than a political phenomenon. It's almost cultural, in that people have grown up in ANC families. Wilton Kwai, who was served life imprisonment, his father posted him an ANC membership card when he was at school. So there was this sort of family sense attached to being in the ANC. Families would pray for the people on Robben Island, things like this. So it's very much something that people have grown up with, and in my own case, something that's been part of my life for a very long time, also the alternatives are not attractive to most people. Many people believe that if the DA were to come in, they wouldn't get social grants, they would not be sympathetic, they would not be as sensitive to racial inequality, things like that. EFF may well be attracting a lot of enthusiasm, but we don't know what that means. So on the one hand, you have a situation where the ANC is no longer standing for what people believed it was. It's no longer exciting people with its vision. It's not offering a vision. It's actually offering a vision of people abusing state funds and things like that. They're not the ideas that used to excite us 20, 30 years ago. So there's a situation where the ANC may or may not lose votes, but even if it continues, it is disintegrating as a political organization. You don't associate the ANC with ideas which are debated and things like that. So I think the ANC may well lose votes. We don't know what the EFF support base will be, may lose certain local government key areas, but even without that, the ANC is internally in disarray. Its alliance is in disarray. COSATU hardly exists. The SACP is in disagreement with the ANC over various things, although SACP is not powerful anyway. So my guess is that hegemony is not just a question of numbers, it is also a question of having a vision for the direction of the country which attracts people's support. Now, when the ANC was first elected, it had that sort of vision, had that sort of hegemony. It no longer has that hegemony. It's not offering a plan which excites people.
Thank you, Raymond. That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Crema Media's Polity about removing Zuma but learning from experience.